Hello, and welcome to the ninth video outlining my software as a service project. In today's video, I want to discuss why I set up automated pipelines early on in my development and how CI/CD helps me deploy my microservices, front ends, databases efficiently. Uh, this will be the last video in this style. Um, um, this is the last video in this style that discusses the theory side of things and the approaches that I'm aiming to follow in my development. After this, we will be solely focused in the code base as I detail my APIs and my function. Uh, Once I've done that, I will then continue with the development, recording and explaining as I go. So in the last video, I explained why I chose XUnit, Artifixture, and then Substitute as a part of my testing strategy, and the benefits of having a well-tested code base. We also cemented a few concepts from earlier videos as part of that discussion. And so far in this series, I have covered a variety of topics. And this is like I said, this is the final one before we start to delve properly into the code. I have discussed onion architecture and domain-driven design. We've discussed solid principles and design patterns. Why I opted for a microservices and micro front ends architecture, and I've talked you through my test strategy. I have also briefly mentioned automation and continuous integration and deployment in these videos, CI/CD for short. And this is what we'll be discussing today. It's important to understand how to ensure that a system is deployed correctly, consistently, and efficiently. So I've got at the moment. I've got 4 APIs and an Azure function, a database per API, and 2 Angular front ends, a shell application, and the micro front end for packages. So how do I get these components into production reliably and efficiently? Manually deploying these components, keeping track of the correct build artifacts will be time consuming and error prone. This is where CI and CD comes into play. So what are they? Continuous integration is the process of automatically building, testing, and validating our code changes before we merge these into our main branch. Developers will typically work on a short-lived branch to develop and test their work. They will then create a pull request where other developers will look it over and suggest any changes. Once these are completed, the pull request is then merged and these changes are added to the main code branch. At which point, an automated pipeline can kick in and build an artifact of the code branch ready for deployment. And this is where the continuous deployment part comes in. The build artifact that is created can then be automatically deployed to an environment, usually the development environment where it will sit behind a gate before it is pushed to QA, where it will likely sit behind another gate before going to UAT and then on to production. The benefit to this is that you can always see what release went to which environment. This enables faster releases and less manual effort. Builds are deployed automatically with approval gates along the way. No having to package manually in FTP those context of a hosting application. No having to track release numbers and what builds went to which environment. Imagine scaling our hardware and then manually deploying to 2+ instances for 5 applications in 5 environments. And that's long. It's a stuff of nightmares. I've got the t-shirt on that. worked that one multiple times throughout my career. And this in turn leads to higher quality software because your releases are consistent, code is validated before it is released, and that we can safely release at any point in time. Uh, so why is CI/CD crucial for a SaaS platform? Any platform, really. As I mentioned in the previous slide, managing deployments for a digital estate that compromises of microservices and micro front ends is tricky. Adding in the manual effort and tracking of deployments, and it just becomes fraught with danger, ends up a bottleneck. Developers will complete their work at different speeds. Some teams will have a higher velocity, and there's teams generally own a product or service that'll have different release needs than to others. CI/CD enables independent deployments. This gives teams flexibility to have shorter or longer release cadences where they can release work when it's ready or at a set interval. Continuous integration and continuous delivery isn't just about deploying software though. We can also create automated pipelines that build our internal libraries that publish feeds to a private NuGet feed. So rather than duplicating code across our microservices, we can package that into common libraries. We package them and then we update the library. We can automatically build and publish the latest version to the feed. CI/CD is critical to ensure that we can have faster and more efficient release cycles. So with consistency across our environments, automating the process reduces the manual effort required to get code into production. And that we get higher quality software releases as we've validated our code before merging. You won't be able to run a SaaS platform without it. And you should be starting to see that this is something that needs to be considered at the start of the project. If we can release early and often, we can innovate a lot quicker. There's my mouse. So how does continuous integration and continuous development improve the developer workflow? For a start, the developer no longer has to mess around deploying software. That's time that you get straight back that can be put to better use. It reduces the amount of manual regression testing. Any changes to software will introduce bugs, can introduce bugs. And often a developer may find themselves fixing variations of the same issue and over. This happens a lot when there are no automated tests. I've seen this happen a few times. Developers on the project come and go. New developers that don't understand the domain and make a code change can introduce a regression. Experienced developers that haven't touched that part of the code base in some time can also introduce a regression. Don't know about you, but after a couple of weeks not working in an area of code base, and I can forget what it is that I would done. Having automated tests will ensure that new features don't break existing ones. A test suite can run in seconds and provide instant feedback on code changes. As every code change is automatically built and tested, we catch that stuff early. And if a developer forgets to run the test suite when they're writing their code, when they're checking the code, the test suite will be run by the pipeline. So if any tests fail, the pipeline reports that back. This will prevent bad code making its way into the working branch, reducing costs and effort in tracking down issues. Issues are fully preventable. So releases become smaller and safer as we can avoid big risky updates. If we do end up with a bad release and it needs to roll back, then this is a simple task to do. So in a moment, I'll show you my pipelines. However, the role of CI/CD with microservices and micro front ends may still be unclear. To attain the ability to deploy libraries, services, and micro front ends independently. We need to create individual pipelines. This then allows me to deploy the constituent parts of the platform independent from the others, helping me to build and innovate quickly. In a later video, we will look at my YAML scripts in more detail and what we need to do to make use of infrastructure as code. So possibly Terraform, as I get my current contract is offering me exposure to Bicep, so I'll probably look at that. And I'll share. I will also show how I share YAML scripts so that I don't have to write a pipeline from scratch for every new service and micro front end that I create. So I'll switch to DevOps. Crap. Here we go. Let's do that. Right. So these are my pipelines. In fact, let me bring up my Miro as well. So you get visualization. So looking at my pipelines, you can see I've got 4 groups. I have APIs, and I have front end. I have my function, and then I have my libraries, and I will drag a bit more, and I've got a little map of these libraries to how they all relate, which I'll try and show you. Right. So this helps me group them all together, as you can see. And I have a pipeline for each of the libraries that I want to build as well. And if you notice, you might struggle to, if you can see it pop up, these will match the layer in which they fit inside the onion architecture pattern. And by packaging these into a NuGet feed, things like this one. So you can see I've packaged all my libraries, and I can connect to this feed in Visual Studio. So a lot of my code is shareable. As you can see, switch to my Miro. The libraries at top, and then whichever ones. So concierge management application shared will make use of common. Concierge management application services will make use of the application shared, and so on. So I've got a little map here of how these all work and relate. And it were important that I had these basic pipelines in place so I could easily share this code, be able to quickly build out the platform. Let me try and quickly show you some YAML. So you'll see I use a template. I use semantic versioning at the top. I pull my template here from this repository. I will in future tag pipelines with version because I'm quickly iterating. I'm just running off of the main branch. pass some basic variables in, and the rest taken care of here. So that's application services. If I show you, let's go so concierge application services. If I look at application shared again, you'll see slightly different. And that must be where the let's double check. Yeah, I think I'm pulling it from this one. So let's go back to pipelines. We'll have a look at residences.infrastructure, and as you see, the importers template. So very, very quickly I can iterate. I create a new library. I just have to pass it necessarily. Import the template, set the semantic version in, add some variables, and then just pass them through to this template pipeline. In fact, I may not even need these. Oh no, do I use them here? So that's what they've declared. And then when it comes to my applications, again, if I make a change to my concierge packages API, I can just deploy this pipeline. Again, you see I've got semantic versioning. I also have a template that I import, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that's allowed me to iterate fairly quickly. So hopefully you can see how beneficial CI/CD is to a project, and why it's a good idea to consider this at the start of any development. It's removing the deployment barriers early, allows for faster innovation. One of the hardest things is deploying software. So easier you can make that, the easier life will be. I hope you're enjoying this series. That's it for theory. I am going to quickly show you that I can pull those from NuGet. But that is it for theory. From now on, we will be delving into code. The next video, it's all about my tenant API. And if this video has helped you to understand the CI, the CD a bit more, or if it's giving you something to consider for your own projects, then please drop a comment. But yeah, if I show you my concierge management package source, I'll just let this browse. In a moment, we should see. It's doing that. So I just do concierge management. So that's what we're all prefixed to, if you remember. Concierge management on the libraries. So here you can still search. Here you can see, look, on different versions, and I can just include these in the project if needed. So yeah, doing that early, I think it's been really beneficial. So yeah, if you're enjoying this, drop a comment and subscribe, and yeah, see you at the next one.